So we'll begin the Recreation Culture Committee meeting. There's only one item on the agenda. It's the agreement with Cobden District Public School regarding use of the field. And it is pages 14 to 24 in your deck. I'm just going to turn it over to Christine. She'll give you a very brief outline of what's going on, Mayor.
So I received this information. So my understanding is we had an agreement dating back to 1991. And now it seems that there are community groups who are squabbling. There seems to be some tension over who gets to use the soccer field. The school board is renting it to one group using the community use of schools program to book the soccer field, and apparently another community group believes that this 1991 agreement gives them priority use. Although the agreement does not state that any group has priority use of the field, so Renfrew County District School Board is asking that the agreement be mutually dissolved and that they will run the program through community use of schools. Mayor Johnson suggested to me a couple of minutes ago that perhaps Renfrew County District School Board we might ask them to come in and make their case, make their request. So,
Mayor?
Question for Christine. Do we own the field, or do they own the field?
I'll have to look into that.
Because if we own the field, they definitely need to explain to us how come they're getting all the revenue and we're getting nothing. So they need to appear in front of us and explain what they're going to do, and we make the decision after the presentation. I think that's only fair. Well, we could decide first and then let them come, but I think we should be fair and honest, and we should get them to make a presentation explaining how they're going to achieve what they're telling us so that we're in on it. That is in our municipality.
I know that we installed the playground. I had assumed that we own it. Use by the Village of Cobden as a municipal park and playground. That's how it's described in the agreement. So that leads me to believe that we own it, but if we own it and it's on school property, so we'll have to look into the details of that.
They need to present it to us what is going to take place so we can be right on top of being part of this.
Okay, just to keep it going here, Kathy?
Just a quick question. Who's maintaining it at this time? The school board?
School board.
Okay,
yep.
Thank you.
They're in my backyard.
Okay.
Can I suggest that we get them to send us a copy of their presentation, and then we give them 15 minutes to present it? Anybody that was at the meeting will understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we're going to amend the recommendation, and it's going to say something like we request a representative from the Renfrew County Board of Education to present themselves at council with a history of what the contract stated and what they're suggesting. Councillor Darrell?
I'm just wondering if we could just table that motion until we get further clarification from them. Would that be a proper way of doing it?
I personally would like them to come and present.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can't. The motion would be tabled until we get further clarification or presentation before we decide whether we're going to vote on it or not vote on it.
Okay, so sorry, the suggestion I had was on this current motion, Darrell, was that we change it to actually request a representative.
Okay, rather than a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, no, I can agree with that. Yeah.
Thank you. Mayor, were you up? No?
No, I was just going to add to what Darrell was saying.
Okay.
Now, also, because it's in the use of our, one of our villages, before we would agree to it and after the presentation, I think it would only be fair that we have a public meeting to see what everybody wants.
That's a great idea.
We can hold that right here.
Per Councillor McLaughlin's suggestion, I'm gonna ask the mover and seconder to withdraw that motion, and we will give Christine direction to write a letter, requesting that they come to council. Who's the mover and seconder? So Dave and Kathy, good with that? Okay, that's the way we'll proceed. Yes, Councillor?
Can we also find out what user group they're talking about and get them to notify, or we can notify them about the meeting as well if and when it's rescheduled, so they're able to attend to, we're just going by one side of the story that they're complaining that they're using it, and the other side of the story is what? We don't know.
Thank you. Any other comments? That is it for the Recreation Culture Committee meeting. Public Works, Dave Mackay is up next.
We're gonna start the Public Works Committee. Did you read this? I hope you read it for me. I don't have my glasses. Oh, really? Seriously? Okay, we need to start. I have to make a float.
Moved by Charlene Jackson, seconded by Darryl McLaughlin. Be resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council that a policy be adopted stating that no work on private vehicles will be allowed in municipal garages. However, employees would be allowed to park inside only during inclement weather while out. Okay.
See, you took my agenda.
And that would be moved by Councillor Olmsted. That's his signature, not mine.
Okay, we have a presentation by our Public Works Manager.
Thank you, Chair. So, what I have done with the help of Charlene, who gave us this chart, I actually have a hard copy of it, but this is just to explain what we do with it. I know it's hard to see here. Let's see if I can move it over. Yeah, I have it. No, I have them. Yep, they're on top of the filing cabinet over there. So, the CEO is going to hand out the hard copy of what this is. So this is how we can track and project our projects. So right now we're working on Government Road. We started our road construction on May the 4th. So the top line here is the day of the month, and the second line here is our construction day. So we started on May the 4th. First thing we do is get locates. So it shows there locates. Normally we project 7 days for locates, but because this doesn't account for weekends, we still have some bugs to figure out with it. But anyway, so we went to 10 days to allow for the weekend. Locates were actually a little bit later than normal because it's a busy time of year, so we went a little bit past. We went 11 days rather than our 10 days. So just to give you an idea. So then we went to layout of the road. We projected it to start on the 13th. We got the job started on the 13th. took 3 days. So there in this column, you can see where on the 16th of May, we started our layout and completed it on the 18th. During the layout, we were installing our road signs, and actually this project, we broke it into 2 pieces because it was so big. So we were installing signs throughout the process. So right now, we're right on track with the signage, and we started our culvert replacement. We projected the 21st, and we started on the 22nd day of construction. So we're down as far right now with the culvert replacements at Fletcher Road. So we're halfway through the job. We've got a couple of major culverts to change between Fletcher and Foresters Falls Road, which is going to require actual closure of the road for overnight. So that wasn't worked into this schedule. It will be from now on. And we're also working with the county because we're going to be setting up detours. And just so you know, Daryl, we found a bunch of detour signs that we had previously. We've made them into more portable detour signs. So now we're able to set up detours very quickly. We've revamped the way we do it. Rather than pounding the posts into the ground, we've just got them on quick setup stands. So it's working very well. So that shows you what we work on. Sandra and I can both remotely access this calendar, so we both can work on it at the same time through, it's called OneDrive on the internet. It's kind of like iCloud. Everyone's heard of the cloud. This is a little bit different version of it, but there's still a couple bugs we're trying to work out with it, but it's, sorry about that. It's been very helpful to get our construction. So our next job will be grant settlements. We project to start our layout on the 27th construction day, which was June 30th. We actually had most of the layout done back before. I just haven't filled in the blanks yet or got Sandra too. So actually tomorrow morning I meet with the county engineer because some of the civil work we're doing is over a county structure. So we just meet with them and show them what we're doing on the job and see if they have any input. I don't believe they will. We just like to keep everybody in the loop. So all through this, you can see how it's different projects and different. So we've estimated the start date for excavating the road on the 35th day of construction, which is the 7th of June. We're pretty close, I think, to being on that now. That storm on Sunday night is going to throw us off a little bit because we've got quite a bit of cleanup to do from the storm, but I believe we'll be fairly close to on track, and this is really going to help us stay on top of our construction schedule this year. So as you go down, we have Corner View. That's the next road to start after we get grant settlement done. We put those two at the top of the priority list because, as we'll see later on in the meeting, we have the tender back for double surface streets, so we want to give ourselves lots of leeway for the road to pack in, and they may be able to get the surface back on before we projected. We actually projected the top going back on, sorry Erica, no, it's good, way over here somewhere, August, oh, is it not showing up in there? Oh, maybe it is there. Surface Street, yes. Yeah, something's maybe a little bit wacky on this one on me, but so just so council understands, this is one of the new tools we'll be using this year, which is going to help us very, very much in our day-to-day activities. Yeah, so everything's laid out in there, the different start dates for the projects. You'll notice, yeah, as we go, we'll be refreshing it. I'm still trying to figure out how to break this down road by road. The only reason I did it this way was it was easier for me to schedule all the jobs in rather than do one sheet for each road. So this way I can make sure that the conflicts aren't there. You'll see that the last week of July, the first week of August, we don't have very much going on because that's when probably 75% of our staff is away on holidays. And also it gives us time to catch up before we start the next jobs if we do have an overrun in the jobs. So, and we also provided in your council pack, I believe, a calendar for each month, and it gives dates. We're still trying to refine that somewhat. I didn't like the way the calendar was, but it was all we had available to us at that time when this went out. We've since found what I hope is going to be a better solution. So that's basically our construction schedule for the summer. It goes right through to September.
Mayor Johnson.
I personally like the entire thing set out exactly the way you've done it. That's my preference.
Yeah.
And then you can, if you have to move stuff in and around to different projects to match, we can see that all the time.
That's right. It makes it so much easier. The only problem with this format is it's so big that I have to print it out on great big paper and tape it together each time.
For us, we, like, the presentation for half of it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's going to be much better.
Councillor McLaughlin? I think this is fine, except I was hoping you would take the top off the Kerr line a lot sooner than you're going to. 'Cause if you'd like, I can give you a drive on the bus.
Oh, and we might. Cause
just asking if you could just tear the top off.
yeah,
But
and
the rest
we don't need locates to do that because we're going less than 6 inches deep. So it's not reflected in this, but we very well could take the top off and make it gradable to be a lot smoother than it is now. The same with corner view as well.
I just look at, like, if we went to fill the potholes on the Kerr line, we probably could pave it for the cost of filling them. So that doesn't make any sense, but, oh man, it's quite a drive.
Yeah.
Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Bill, for this, and I'm glad this tool is going to help you move forward, and it's certainly going to help us understand the process and be able to, you'll be able to report on the process a lot easier than before, and job well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, are you going to be doing double surface treat on Cornerview Road too?
Not this year, no. Because of the major rebuild on it, we're going to let it sit and settle for a winter. And then if we've missed a spot, it pops up next spring. Before the surface goes on it, we can quickly fix it and, you know, we're not tearing up a brand new road again.
Okay. Reeve Miller.
In regard to Cornerview, several of us received a letter from a resident. A couple questions. Should we advise him, or maybe you have already, Councillor Mackay, but of what you just discussed, so he's not surprised later that we're not done the road?
Yeah, I did get a letter from him. I didn't know what to do with it, so I came. I should do it. Can I tell him what they were going to do?
I always found that a good policy.
Councillor McLaughlin. I think in past practice, when we did Dombrowski Road, we went around and we put notification in each mailbox of the residents. And maybe, Bill, that could be done again before we even start.
We've done that in the past where we mailed out to anybody that we felt would be affected by the project. Certainly we could, absolutely.
And I think that, I agree, it's just good courtesy as well, and we do it on the Kerr line because you're not planning to resurface that this year as well. So any place where we're not going to resurface, maybe that would be just a practice to do that. So that when we get calls, we can say, like, this is going to happen, and you'll be getting notification.
Certainly.
Mayor Johnson.
When they get I have a name of a company with geotextile that has wicked good prices.
Okay.
I'll get that to you after, just wanted, or you remind me, and I'll get you the address and the guy to contact. And they deliver, I believe.
Perfect.
But it wouldn't take much even if we had to pick it up.
Yep.
Councillor Olmsted?
It's a good thing you didn't say Councillor Mackay, eh?
I was gonna say Councillor McKay. Very smart manager of mine told me once, if you can get your plan on a page, you'll become a great manager. So this is wicked, in my opinion. The one question I have, do you have any contingency built in for weather or weather-related incidents or?
That period in July and August, and we also did build some days into the projects, you know, I added here and there, but I have contingencies built in with the budget so that if something goes awry, I have a bit of leeway there in order to hire contractors to keep going with this schedule. If our crews get called away for a major problem, a windstorm through the summer or something like that, I've built in contingencies with the budgets to help me there, yes.
Great job. Thank you.
Any other questions? Councillor Regier?
Just one, Bill, and that is, there's still room in situations like Finchley Road or any other roads out there, Snake River Line, that need repairs, like we still have that availability if we have to go and do something on those roads.
Yes, the way we scheduled it, we don't have our entire crews working on those roads at the same time. So, like right now, I've got a crew of 4 people working, replacing culverts, 2 on dump trucks, 1 flagging, and 1 digging. So that frees up the rest of my crew to be out coal patching. Today we cleaned up the park. Yesterday we were coal patching in Beachburg. So I've tried to balance it out in order to make sure that we're still covering off our day-to-day chores in the township, yes.
And I just want to add, great job on this as well, Bill. I think it's gonna make all our lives much easier, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council that a policy be adopted stating that no work on private vehicles will be allowed in municipal garages. However, employees would be allowed to park inside during inclement weather while out performing snow removal duties.
All in favor? Oh, wait, any questions? Discussion, sorry. Bill?
So what I did with this after our last meeting, I sat down and I got 3 policies for council to consider. The first one being status quo, no change. The second one being a change to allowing the workers in inclement weather to park inside the garages only at that time, with no work being done on private vehicles. I didn't want to say no work on vehicles because then the mechanic would have said, how can I fix anything? But so just so you know. And then the third one is no work, no parking in the garages. So because of the way the conversation went the last time, I felt it needed to be given a choice here. Now, my preference would be the policy number 2, where they could park in inclement weather inside the shops. But whatever council decides, we will enforce and deal with.
Mayor Johnson? Councillor Jackson, sorry.
I still think that we should go with the recommendation from the insurance company not to allow vehicles to be parked in the garage. I know it's nice, and it has been nice for some of those employees that get the opportunity to park in the garage during inclement weather. However, not all staff get that ability to do so. With staff that work at the office, that take all the phone calls from where's the snowplow, blah, blah, blah. But I do think it's important that we follow the recommendations from our insurance company. If we don't, then there could very well be repercussions with an increase in insurance costs if they know there is going to be parking in the garage. But I certainly agree that no parking in the garage at all, and certainly no work on private vehicles in the garage either.
Councillor Olmsted.
I'm going to disagree with Councillor Jackson. And I understand her reasons for that, but I'd like to see us go with option 2, where I'd like to see our region become a desired place for employees to work. And I know it's only a certain few that get the perk of that job. It's an extremely tough job to do when you're driving around a 60,000-pound truck and vehicles coming at you and inclement weather, and anyway, my personal feeling is I'd like to see us go with option 2. I don't like the scare tactics of insurance companies to begin with. I don't think we've ever had an insurance claim for a vehicle being inside of a garage. And I just, for our employees, I'd like to see us go with number 2.
Okay, Councillor Ray here.
I just question if we could get our employees to sign a waiver that should something happen while their vehicle is parked inside, that they could not come back on the municipality. Is that something that could be fair? We do, the waivers are signed all the time. I don't know how we would stand up in a court, but...
I don't know either. Part of the problem becomes when, say, what Councillor Jackson is trying to say is, what if they park in the garage, you know, when we go out at 5 o'clock in the morning and their vehicle lights the garage on fire? Whose insurance covers our garage? That answer I don't know, but I understand what Councillor Jackson is trying to say. And I hate to say this, but do you want me to see what the insurance company says and bring it back, or?
Mayor Johnson.
I agree with Councillor Olmsted. We have, they want to insure us, they follow our decision, and we've beat this to death once before. I think let's just vote on it.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin first, sorry. Well, I have to maybe agree with what Bill's saying. I think maybe we should tell our insurance company and see what they come back with. And then at that point, I'm in favor of as long as there's no extra cost and no extra responsibility on the municipality to allow them to do it, then I have no problems. But I think we need to notify our insurance company and see what they bring back if we allow them to park in there. Because I'm all for it. It's nice, and like Councillor Olmsted says, that's not an easy job, and at the end of the day, they get to go, you know, they don't have to get in the cold car and clean it off. They can just head home. Councillor Jackson.
I guess there's two things. One is if their vehicle is damaged, then obviously we would be responsible for their damage. If they damage our building due to a fire or otherwise, you know, parking in or out of the garage, and that's a different thing. I would think that the question that should be asked is of the insurance, should the employees sign a waiver, and in that waiver, should they also include a liability that they cover the liability on the cost of the replacement of the garage if the garage catches on fire. It's not unusual for vehicles to catch on fire. It happens all the time, and if a garage goes up, $1 million liability is not going to cover the cost of a garage. I can tell you that much. For replacement cost. So we don't want to be stuck. The ratepayers certainly don't want to be stuck for covering the cost of the difference between the $1 million cost and what the of the liability insurance on somebody's insurance policy, and I mean, that's just I don't know if that includes property liability for $1 million, or if it's more than that. So I think that question should also be asked, is if each individual employee should have a liability, to what extent, in the event that their vehicle damages the garage in any way, and then would our insurance be increased if we allowed staff to park in the garage?
Okay. Cars don't burn all the time. Have you ever had a car burn? Have you ever had a car burn?
Somewhere else I had a tractor catch on fire.
No, I'm saying your car, so I'm just saying.
It
You ask
happens.
10 people, nobody's had a car burn, so it's not very often happens.
I've seen it happen. It hasn't happened to me. I've seen it twice happen.
Okay. Anybody else? Oh, sorry. Councillor McLaughlin.
I was gonna say, let's, just table this and get some more information and move forward. Because I think we've beat it to death around the table. I'd like to, recommend that the CAO or somebody contact our insurance company and find out what the liabilities are before we go any further.
Councillor Olmsted.
I'd like to vote on the motion.
I agree with you.
Councilor, it's not going to harm if we put it off. It is just the start of the summer. There's no reason why we can't wait for the information to come from the insurance company. It's not imminent that we're going to have a winter storm, I would hope, in the month of June, July, August, or September. So we certainly have enough time to have information come back, and that was the whole purpose of putting it off, allowing it to happen in the winter time, to discuss it in the summer, to have some time to revisit it. So I would like also to table it.
Can I get consensus on that? Who'd like to table it? Okay, I guess it's tabled.
I think you're supposed to get from the mover and the seconder.
Oh.
Is that not correct procedure?
Yeah, it's not being withdrawn, it's just being tabled. And normally, if there is agreement with that's the way we have been doing it.
Mayor Johnson.
I think it's fair to ask the question up front, just straight out, what would it cost as an increased insurance if our employees are allowed to put their cars in while they're snow plowing in a storm?
Yeah.
Period.
Just asking.
And then if they put it up, why don't we just get another insurance company? We dictate, we're the governing body, we dictate to them what they're gonna cover. So we find out what it's gonna cost, and if they say nothing, carry on. Just saying.
Councillor Reger.
I agree with you, Mayor, but in addition to that, I'd like to see still a waiver, some kind of a waiver signed by employees to see if that stands up as well.
The problem with that is, should the worst scenario happen, we'll have an employee that can't afford to live.
Guarantees his wages for 80 years.
Yeah, we'd have to make them live to 320. So we need it to
Let's
be
move
our
on.
insurance, but no, I'm just saying, but I agree.
Move on, we've tabled this.
We tabled it.
Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to council that the fuel tender be cancelled due to discrepancies in the rack rates and that the tender be re-released.
Let Bill explain.
So what happened when we wrote this tender, somehow we received the wrong information on the rack price for the day that we required the fuel companies to tender on. And we did learn something during this tender, which we always do. Every tender you learn something new. We had put our tenders, being the fuel, calcium, and fuel, gravel, and surface treatment on the website. when we get the first call about the fuel rack price being wrong, now the rack price is what every fuel company bases their daily rate on, so it's complicated. I don't fully understand it myself, but anyways. When we put the tenders, the whole document on the website, it was available for anybody to pick up, but we had no way of tracking who was receiving it. So in order to put in an addendum saying, okay, we realize we've made a mistake, this is the daily rack price you need to use, we had no idea who was using it. So, like I said, we learned something from that point on. Any tenders or RFQs or RFPs that were going out, only basically the ad that you see in the paper was going to go on the website, that there was tender documents available to be picked up at the office, and then we could keep a list of who had the actual tender in order, so if there was an addendum to go out to fix up a problem that had occurred in the tender, we could send it out. So for that reason, I'm recommending that the fuel tender be resubmitted with the proper rack pricing as soon as possible after this meeting.
Mayor Johnson.
Rack pricing is quite complicated, but I agree with you. The other thing too is so that we could, on request, send an email which we can track also. Like we send the email the same as they come in and pick up the hard copy.
Oh, absolutely, yes, but they have to request it from us somehow.
Yeah, we don't put the wording of it on our website, just the fact it's there and they can get it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like I
Okay,
said,
I
just the
understand
same
that,
thing that goes in the newspaper, just, you
Okay.
know, tender for fuel for whatever available documents by contacting
Yeah.
us here,
That's
so,
your safest method.
yeah, absolutely.
Reeve Miller.
Yeah, I'm just curious, Bill, how many responses did you get?
We had 3 responses. Yep.
Can you name them? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it was an open tender. It was McEwen, Stinson, and Dunbar Fuels.
Okay, thanks.
Need to read it? Okay, all in favor of retendering? All right, carried.
Moved by Chris Olmsted, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that the council accept the lowest quote from Dencham Limited to supply and apply liquid dust suppressant.
Discussion? Dencham.
Denchem.
Oh, Councilor McLaughlin? I guess I do have to bring the whistle out. Two questions, Bill.
Sure.
We've used this company before,
I have used them, not a lot, but I have used them, yes.
okay, because there wasn't very much difference between the two prices.
On almost $100,000, $400 or $500.
That's $480.
Yep.
Is that much of an increase from last year?
Points of cents.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So basically, it's the same price, you might as well say.
It's pretty close now. Denchem uses liquid magnesium for dust suppressant, whereas the other company uses a liquid calcium for dust suppressant. I've had good luck with both products, and I've had good luck with both carriers, so.
Okay. That answers my questions. Mayor Johnson?
Isn't liquid magnesium more
It's more
solid?
environmentally friendly.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what I'm trying to get that out of my mouth, yes. Okay, just
That's-
thought it was.
That is their claim, and this is the first time I can ever remember that liquid magnesium was less expensive than liquid chlorine, so.
All in favor? Carried.
Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council accept the Greenwood paving tender bid for surface treatment of $317,831.71, including tax.
Discussion, Charlene?
Can we just add the road for that tender? Like, is there roads or is it various roads or what was, if I didn't look at the like I don't know.
Sorry, yeah, that would be, Government Road and Grand Settlement. Yes.
Mayor Johnson?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all your double service street is for that price that you're doing.
Double and overlays, yeah.
Yeah, double overlays, yeah. Okay.
Councilor McLaughlin? Once again, Bill, I'm gonna ask the same question as before. Is that an increase, decrease, or is it?
It's very close to the same price as we had last year. I was gonna ask to reject this tender because it's actually about $600 over budget from what I'd figured it was gonna cost this year for double surface treatment, but I thought $600 would be okay. On 317,000.
The other question is, I just don't understand how come there wasn't more than one bid.
Usually we have two bidders on our double surface treatments. We usually have Miller's bid and Greenwood Paving, and they're both very close usually. I'm not sure if Miller's didn't see the ad in the papers this year or what, because we didn't send it out this year. We just advertised the way our policy says this year. I believe we're getting a fair price, and Greenwood does good work too, so.
We're gonna vote on that? All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you.
Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Chris Olmsted. Be it resolved that the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends that council accept the splinter gravel crushing tender bid in the amount of $113,610.20, including tax.
Questions? Mayor Johnson?
Where's that company from?
Splinter Pembroke.
They stole.
Splinter, I see. Yeah,
Sorry, learned some Valley.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
They're apparently
Thank you.
stolen Boyd Tire.
No, they're red. I just, I didn't hear exactly what you said, and so I thought it was a different company, but I apologize for my poor hearing. I don't actually apologize for my poor hearing.
Councilor Regular.
Just a question, Bill. Have we used this company before? 'Cause $55,000 is quite a difference, especially when there's, Cloutier and Bonachere, they were that close.
We've used these guys the last 3 years.
Thank you.
They're average 1 penny more per ton than they were last year.
That's good. Thank you.
Councilor McLaughlin. What pits are you crushing in this year?
We have some to do in Powers Pit, to do the Curline job and the government road job. Most of the gravel's in the pit right now for the government road job. Then we're going to crush some in the Duns Hill pit. We've crushed in there before. It makes good gravel, and in Bromley's pit again.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
There is one more thing, the sign. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Sorry. I think I can get it from here. we were asked to come up with a sign design for roads that are being worked on by strictly tax dollars, and this is what I've had one of the sign companies come up with. This will be a 4x4 sign on an aluminum and plastic, it's kind of a sandwich board stuff. The quote was $160 per sign. So I wanted to bring that to you and see if you wanted me to proceed with that.
I like it, it's very good. Councillor Jackson.
Do we also have signs that you have for the federal gas tax as well?
I still have some of the old signs that they're coming up with a new design this year, but they haven't got it yet. So I have my old signs that I can put up on the roads that we're using the gas tax on, yes.
Is there any roads, and I can't remember, this is why I'm asking, that we're using both tax dollars and federal gas tax that we could combine? I wouldn't want to see two signs put up, but maybe one combined sign? I can't remember. Do you remember, Marcia?
Councillor Olmsted?
I don't know, in my opinion, and at the end of the day, it's all tax dollars, whether it be gas tax,
Yeah.
Money raised through municipal, and not to mislead the taxpayer, but this council makes decisions on where all those funds go and what road to go to, so can we not generate sign, whether we use this one or slightly alter it, that it could be used for all purposes, whether this one would be perfect to use for gas tax, our tax, whatever fund we get, or is that a
It's a
that's a requirement?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if a portion of that road is paid by our tax dollars?
Sorry, that was what I was asking. I'm pretty sure there isn't. I'm pretty sure it's all federal gas tax and not a combination. But if we ever come across a combination, I'd like to see that both ours and the federal gas tax information go on a sign.
Ours first.
Whichever. I'm good with that too.
Mayor Johnson.
I like the wording of that. Road improvements brought to you by Whitewater Region. Doesn't matter who's paying for it. And so if it's the gas tax, like Councillor Jackson said, put that up right with it, because it's us doing the work.
Just put a little sign, thank you, Justin.
Well, I don't know. I think it's Cathy.
Yes, Marcia.
The only road is Grant Settlement Road. We're doing $59,142 out of gas tax, out of taxation, and $54,858 out of OSIF funding. That's one.
What are we using government road as?
That's taxation,
Totally?
total.
So like these signs could go up on government road? And when the requirements come in for the new signs, then maybe we can incorporate what they have requirements for gas tax along with something similar to this.
Johnson.
I don't want to be really picky, but we need to take the Whitewater crest and go this way a little bit because it's too round. And I had that pointed out many times to me. That's actually too round. Take a look at all the crests, and they're more squishy. If you don't mind, I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll tell the guy.
The reason your crest is squishy is because you stretched it out, just saying.
Okay, so for direction, will I order 2 of these be made up and put on Grant Settlement as soon as possible?
I'll say yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to say, Olmsted, get out of my seat. Don't get comfortable over there. Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our Public Works. Thank you, Erica.
That's extra. Everybody here?
Ready to go?
Okay. I'm on. Where? I didn't know you were trying for the mic. Okay, we'll bring the Economic Development Committee meeting to order. We have one item. Letter to Education Minister Liz Sandals from Township Council, Economic Development Impact of the Closure of Westmead School, requested by Mayor Johnson. So I guess we'll let the mayor talk about the letter.